Hello and welcome to Synthesizer. My name's Andrew Kirby. I reached financial freedom by synthesizing, and now I help other educational creators get paid to change the world, and I do it for free. On the agenda today is number 1, unveiling, where we talk about what is a synthesizer. Number 2, the unlocks, which is why become a synthesizer. Number 3 is the origin, the background to synthesizing. Number 4 is the roadmap, where we'll reveal the proven process to freedom. Number 5 is the group and how you can get support. And number 6 is an action step, how you can get started today. Number 1, unveiling. What is a synthesizer? Well, we have this large problem. You may have felt it. Society and humanity is drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. And there's 2 main problems here. The first one is that the World Wide Web does not equal the World Wise Web. On the internet, there is so much noise, but such little signal. Think of all the polarization, the clickbait, the fake news, the fake gurus, all of the content that's produced. Yet still, it's very difficult to figure out what's right and what's wrong, what's true and what's false. And this is only about to get far worse with AI. And the second problem is that the information age has not equaled the implementation age. We all know how to solve our problems, but we still don't do it. Humanity suffers from problems that we know the solution to, but information isn't enough. And that's why Greg Henriquez, PhD, said that in an increasingly complex world, the fragmented state of knowledge can be seen as one of the most pressing social problems of our time. The solution is that Earth needs synthesizers. First of all, we need to help people find truth in a world of lies. Howard Gardner says, valuable in the past, the capacity to synthesize becomes ever more crucial as information continues to mount at dizzying rates. And second of all, we need to help people implement information. Murray Gell-Mann, who's a Nobel laureate in physics, said, in the 21st century, the most important kind of mind will be the synthesizing mind. We are drowning in information while starving for wisdom. The world henceforth will be run by synthesizers. So the synthesizer vision is to help 1 million educational creators get paid to change the world. And the synthesizer mission is to create the biggest movement of educational creators. But what actually is a synthesizer? That sounds cool, that sounds grand, that sounds amazing. There is this problem. We all know that we're drowning in information while starving for wisdom. But what actually is a synthesizer? Well, simply, a synthesizer solves problems and shares solutions. You see, life is a thick jungle, and people want to explore and to progress, but progress requires thrashing through thick thorns, avoiding deadly snakes, and receiving cuts and scrapes along the way. The synthesizer goes first. They navigate the treacherous terrain, taking the cuts and bruises along the way, and then they return with a simple map, letting people make the same progress, quicker and without the cuts. We have information on the left here. Information is a bunch of random different dots of things that are spotted around on the internet, things that people tell you. You get a lot of information nowadays. The first thing a synthesizer does is they connect the dots. They take these seemingly disjointed pieces of information and piece them together in a mental lattice work that creates a paradigm that allows them to see the world in a clear way. They see truth in a world of lies. Then the synthesizer lays out a clear, simple, easy to follow roadmap for someone to take the wisdom and implement it in their own life to solve the painful problems and to reach the desires that humans so feverishly want. And they make it simple for people to do by laying out the simple steps for people to follow to solve their problems and reach their desires. The synthesizer goes from information to wisdom by solving problems. The synthesizer solves problems, then goes from wisdom to synthesizer by sharing solutions. They go from information to wisdom to synthesizer by solving problems and sharing solutions. A synthesizer spends 10 months solving a problem, then helps others solve it in 10 minutes. And they do this through doing and then teaching. A synthesizer doesn't skip steps. A synthesizer doesn't immediately start trying to educate people on how to solve a problem. The synthesizer first solves the problem. They get the experience, they get the proof, they gain mastery in specific areas of life through doing, and then they graduate to teaching. And here are 6 famous examples of synthesizers. Number 1, we have Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, would go out in the battlefield, live life to the fullest. He was the most powerful man alive, and then he took all of those experiences that he had, synthesized them into his journal, which people are still reading 2,000 years later. Then we have Naval Ravikant, angel investor, multi-millionaire, Silicon Valley, extraordinaire entrepreneur, who takes all of that experience and boils it down into simple, concise, beautiful nuggets of wisdom that people can use to implement in their own life and in their own business to make progress. Then we have Richard Feynman. He made huge innovations in physics, but was known most for taking these bold, progressive, outlandish, new, confusing ideas in physics and boiling it down so simply that even a 5-year-old could understand it. Another synthesizer. Then we have Andrew Huberman, goes deep into neuroscience and various different avenues of health, goes and reads all of the different scientific studies, then synthesizes it into easy-to-consume podcasts so that the everyday person can take this complex information and benefit from it on the day-to-day. And then we have Leila Hormozi and Alex Hormozi, both with a net worth over $100 million, who go out, create businesses, and then synthesize it all down to make business education freely accessible through the content that they produce. But you don't need to be one of these famous, huge, grand, amazing sorts of synthesizers. Here are some more everyday synthesizers who find themselves inside of this very community that you've just joined. You don't need to be amazing and grand to be a synthesizer. In fact, all of those grand synthesizers started like normal people. And the beautiful thing is that you are already a synthesizer. You are already solving problems in your own life and then sharing the solutions. If you're a student, this is what you do in your studies. If you have a 9-to-5, this is what you do in your job. If you're an entrepreneur, this is what you do in your business. Think about it. You spend your day solving problems, and once you figure out the solution, you share it with people, either through your actions or through your words, through doing or through teaching. Now we move on to section 2, the unlocks. Why become a synthesizer? Well, we're all playing a great online game. If you look at the definition of a video game, it says that a game played by electronically manipulating images produced by a computer program on a monitor or other display. What do you spend your time doing? You wake up in the morning, you open up your laptop, you go to synthesizer community, you go to various different places like YouTube or Twitter or LinkedIn, and you learn and you interact with other people. You are playing a video game. And this great online game is free to play, and it starts simply by realizing that you're playing a game. And this game is so beautiful that if you hit the right keys on your keyboard in the right order, and if you do it for long enough, you can reach financial freedom. And I don't know about you, but all of the best video games that I used to play as a kid had the character selection menu, an option where you could pick who you wanted to become. And if you care about impact, you care about income, and you care about purpose, then the synthesizer is the best character to play. You see, being a synthesizer is the fastest path to financial freedom. And by solving problems and sharing solutions, you will get everything you want. Which brings me to the trifecta of synthesizing. And you see, it all revolves around problems. If you want to find a purpose, you solve Earth's problems. If you want to make an income, you solve other people's problems. And if you want to improve yourself, you solve your own problems. And the beautiful thing about synthesizing is it lands perfectly between these three things. Synthesizing is the only opportunity that exists right now that allows you to make an income far greater than you could ever imagine possible, whilst having a pure and beautiful purpose that wakes you up in the morning with drive and passion to work on the things that you want to work on, combined with allowing you to improve yourself and solve your own problems and build a life that's beautiful and rich and wholesome. Synthesizing lands right in the middle of these three things. And before you're a synthesizer, you help no one. After you're a synthesizer, you create an impact. By solving problems and sharing solutions, you are literally easing the suffering of humanity. And before being a synthesizer, you're directionless. There's so many different things that you could do, so many different places that you could focus your attention, and it's difficult to figure out which way to go in. But after you're a synthesizer, you have purpose. You know exactly what you need to do. You wake up in the morning with a clear goal, with clear action steps that you need to take, and you're driven and motivated by that purpose on the day-to-day basis. And before you're a synthesizer, you're underpaid. And after a synthesizer, you're highly paid. See, when you solve problems for people, they are more than happy to pay you plentifully because you've just solved the painful problem for them. Of course, they're happy to pay you. Zig Ziglar said, you can have everything in life you want if you will just help other people get what they want. And that is what a synthesizer is all about. And putting this into real life, Zane, who joined Synthesizer in August 2022, was on government welfare. He was on benefits. He had an income so low that the government would supplement his income. But within a year of being a synthesizer, he made $5,000 a month. And within 2 years, he was able to add $36,000 to his business in just 1 month, winning him the school games in 2024. And this is a picture of me and Zane at the school games meetup. And then we have Jamie. He was uploading videos on YouTube, but he was getting no traction. He joined Synthesizer in November 2021, and he ended up meeting Tristan Spone from Stranger Things, this famous celebrity. And he became a growth operator for this guy's community, landing him a high-ticket client, met his girlfriend inside of Synthesizer, and now he travels the world working online with his girlfriend full-time, living the life that he always dreamed of. And this is them together in New York. And then we have Aiden. He was hospitalized with a chronic illness and $6,000 in debt. He was a college dropout and an ex-semi-pro athlete. He started an online writing business as a synthesizer, and he grew it to over $10,000 a month. He then launched a school group and got 75 paying customers, has generated 50 million views on Twitter, is the ghostwriter for some of your favorite creators, and eats steak and yellow dragon fruit whenever he feels like it. And if you haven't tried yellow dragon fruit, you need to try yellow dragon fruit. It's the most overpowered fruit that exists on this earth. And this is Aiden's transformation. But it's not just those three people. There are hundreds of synthesizers that have been able to build beautiful careers for themselves, that have allowed them to generate incomes far greater than they thought possible for themselves, incomes that allowed them to travel the world, to go to Thailand, to go to Bali, to go to America, New York, LA, all around the world, exploring, going wherever they want to go, whenever they want to go, with freedom over their time, freedom over their location, and a drive and a purpose that speaks directly to their core and motivates them on a daily basis. Phase 3, origin. Who am I? Well, this is me. I grew up in Kyrgyzstan in Central Asia. My parents were over there as missionaries, Christians were being persecuted, and they went over to volunteer and help. You weren't allowed to be a Christian, so they went to help. And then I moved over to the UK, and I had a relatively ordinary childhood until I went to university. And on day one of university, I was studying marketing in the UK. I realized what a mistake that I had made. I had promised myself my whole teenage years that I was going to build a life that was beautiful. I had promised myself that I was going to be in charge of what I wanted to do. And I had promised myself that I was going to do something that was meaningful. But yet, on day one, I realized that I was directly on the path that everybody else was on, to getting a job that drained my soul, to work for some soulless corporation that benefited zero things to humanity, even though I had promised myself, and I had been consuming business and educational content that had made me aware of how big of a potential that I had. I realized that I was doing nothing about it. The promises that I had made for myself to do something great with my life were not being met. And on that day, I made a promise to myself that I was going to do whatever it would take to drop out and go full-time on the internet. But if only it were as easy as some people make it sound. I tried starting a social media marketing agency. Here I am with my suit. I went around to local businesses and I pitched my services, and I got a little bit of interest. But there was one time that I walked into a nail salon. There was 4 ladies getting their nails done, and I went up and I said, "Hey, would you like to buy my social media marketing services?" They all looked at me and they laughed, and I quit, making $0. I tried doing SEO. I tried starting a website. I looked into drop shipping. I looked into copywriting. I looked into all of these different things, and I failed and I failed and I failed. Until one day I met a mentor online who told me to start uploading YouTube videos. This is the first YouTube video that I ever created. It was in my university dorm room, and it was pretty bad. It was a pretty bad video. But from that, I kept uploading, and I tried to start monetizing. The first thing I ever sold was an MP3 player. I would buy them from China. I was making content about Stoicism at the time. And I thought, well, people interested in Stoicism are interested in journaling, so I'm going to put together some information on journaling, put it on an MP3 player, and then ship it out to people. I'd heard a lot of smart people doing a free book funnel, so I thought, why don't I make a free MP3 player funnel? And that was the way that I made my first $7. But again, I was struggling and I wasn't making much progress, and I was starting to figure out audience growth, but the problem was audience monetization. So the 2 problems that I solved was audience growth and then audience monetization. And all of that changed when I started time theory. I met another mentor of mine called Sam Ovens, who walked me through the process to monetize an audience. The first thing I sold before time theory was actually breakup coaching. I had just come out of a breakup, so I thought, why don't I help other people overcome that problem too? It worked okay. I made a couple $1,000s. But I very quickly realized that a tiny percentage of my audience was actually going through a breakup, so it probably wasn't the best thing to sell. Time theory helped people beat procrastination. See, I asked myself the question, what is the biggest problem that I've solved? And the answer became clear. I used to procrastinate and play a lot of video games. Now I don't procrastinate and I work hard. So why don't I help other people beat procrastination? And that worked insanely well. My YouTube channel quickly grew to 650,000 subscribers, and it ended up generating over $1 million, allowed me to move into my dream apartment overlooking the ocean, and gave me the funds and the freedom to do whatever it was that I wanted to do. The combination of beating procrastination, figuring out how to grow an audience, and figuring out how to monetize it gave me the life that I dreamed of. All of this put together is synthesizing. But things weren't great for long. I took the money that I had and I said, I am going to go traveling. I did the math when I was in Thailand, and I realized that I never had to work again. Based on the money that I had saved up from the previous offer that I had ran, I realized that I could never work again. And aged 22, I retired. And I thought that life was going to be amazing. I thought I would go and retire on the beach in Thailand. I thought I would be like a cat, lazing and basking in the sun. But it was not like that. I very quickly got into this rut where I realized that I wasn't doing anything with my life. I was bored and purposeless. And this freedom that I had dreamed of wasn't as amazing as I thought that it was going to be. And that was when I started Synthesizer School. See, initially I asked myself the question, what is the biggest problem that I've solved? And the answer was procrastination. But then when I asked myself this question for the second time, the situation had changed. The biggest problem that I had solved then was going from a complete beginner, lost and confused with no expertise, no skills, no audience, to complete financial freedom and over 500,000 subscribers, all through the process of synthesizing. And as soon as I had that clarity, it became obvious to me I was a synthesizer. The people that I love to help are synthesizers. We need to help people that are synthesizers grow and expand and achieve freedom through synthesizing. So I started Synthesizer School. It was the first free community ever on school. I had zero plans for monetization. I created the community because it felt like it needed to exist. I then helped Rian Doris gain 100,000 subscribers in 6 months. He now has 388,000 as of the time of recording this. Because as I was working with Synthesizer, another opportunity to help entrepreneurs build their audience presented themselves. I previously was an entrepreneur who had grown my audience, so that was a problem that I had solved, and I could help other people solve that problem. And the results were insane. His audience blew up. 100,000 subscribers in 6 months. Nobody in the educational space had ever seen it before. And I was working with Rian every day to help him do that. But as I was doing that, a friend of mine, Hamza, reached out to me and he said, I'm trying to figure out how I could monetize my audience. And I thought again, well, this is a problem that I've solved. Let's see if I can help. I told him exactly what to do, what offer to launch, what price to sell it at, how to do the launch strategy. And he went from $20,000 up to $200,000 per month. It's now dropped to around $100,000 a month, but still, that's a pretty incredible progression. And that led to me starting Creator Monetization. This was a community solely dedicated to creators with 100,000 subscribers to help them monetize. I ended up getting hundreds of creators, all that had 100,000 plus subscribers inside of this, including many creators that you may be familiar with. And that was the next focus of mine. From there, I ended up joining school, and I ended up hosting the school games with Alex Hormozi. This is my role as of recording this video. I am the host of the school games with Alex Hormozi. But I realized that both inside of the school games and outside of the school games, inside of Synthesizer School, the people that I can help the most are synthesizers. It's the educational creators. And inside of the school games, a huge amount of people there are really synthesizers. So my focus became full circle, and I realized that my job on this earth is to help educational creators get paid to change the world, to help educational creators reach freedom. And putting all of that into a simple list, here's some of the things that I've done. I've made $2 million online by synthesizing. I'm the host of the school games. I have 650,000 subscribers on YouTube. I helped Hamza make $100,000 a month. Rian go from 0 to 100,000 subscribers in 6 months. I helped Adam Earhart make $50,000 in 14 days. I worked with Mr. Beast as a client to improve his productivity. Although the honor was mine, I learned more from him than he did from me. I helped Brandon Dion make $200,000 in 7 days. Jenny Hoyos make $36,000 in 7 days. Steve Hoyne make $165,000 in 10 days. Leon Hendricks make $120,000 revenue in 10 days. Zane Meyer go from broke to the school games winner. Matthias Turb make his first $1,000 in 13 days. He was a complete beginner. Hishem Damini get his first high ticket sale. Just a combination of helping beginners a combination of helping consultants and entrepreneurs grow their audience, as well as helping YouTubers and people that have an audience monetize. So when it comes to becoming an educational creator, I have knowledge in all different aspects of audience growth and audience monetization. And now I work with Aidan. He is the host of Synthesizer, and together we work on making sure this community that you've just joined is as valuable and as amazing and helps you change your life as quickly as humanly possible. Section 4, Roadmap. This is the proven path to synthesizer freedom. You see, 4 years ago, I created the first free community on School. And after seeing 100 plus beginners make $10,000 a month and 100 plus advanced people make $100,000 a month, I noticed patterns that almost everyone followed. Data points between tens of thousands of community members. It was a very clear pattern. And you could spend years trying and failing on your own, or you can follow our proven roadmap, which is the fastest way we've seen to reach freedom as a synthesizer. And this is the roadmap, broken into 6 different phases. Phase 1, which is where you are now, is orient. This is where you align yourself to the right path. And by the end of phase 1, you'll have clarity on the direction you're headed in, what you need to do to get what you want, and the niche, the area of the market. It's not actually the niche, but it's the area of the market that you're going to unlock your superpower and become the best in the world at. Then we move on to phase 2, which is about network. Here, you'll build valuable relationships. You'll make friends. You'll have accountability partners, and there'll be opportunities starting to present themselves for you to get paid. Phase 3 is where you'll get a case study. This is where you'll help somebody solve a problem. You will literally put someone through a transformation to help them achieve a desire of theirs that will ease their suffering. You will be making a real impact on somebody's life, and you'll have the proof, the case study, the testimonial to prove that you're someone capable of delivering results. Then we move on to phase 4, which is client. This is where you get highly paid to help someone. And one high-ticket client can completely change your entire life. One high-ticket client allows you to go full-time as a synthesizer. It allows you to travel the world, go where you want, and do what you want. So this phase makes a huge difference. Then phase 5 is audience building. This is when you start creating content and helping it scale. This is where you can reach financial freedom and never have to work again. But it's important to note, we've done this in this order for a reason. You see, many people try to create content before they have any sort of proof, before they have a case study. The problem with this is as you're giving advice, as you're creating educational content, people will be asking, why should I listen to you? And until you can answer that question, people will not listen to you, let alone give you money. So we've oriented it in this order because this is the model that we've seen people follow to get results. It's this specific order that works the quickest and the easiest and the most effective way to get you full-time and then reaching freedom, which is phase 6. This is where you do what you want, where you want. And the way that you follow the roadmap is through the 7 C's. You see, if that's the roadmap, the way you execute on each part of the roadmap is through the 7 C's. The roadmap is the what, the 7 C's is the how. You start by consuming. You learn through consuming. You are what you eat. You create what you consume. High quality inputs equals high quality outputs. And luckily, you're probably already doing this step, so you're already on to step 2, which is comment. This is when you start leaving comments with various people's content. And we go deeper on this in this section, but the reason you start with comments is because if you start with posts, you're competing against everyone on the platform. Whereas if you start with comments, you're only competing with the other people that have commented on that post. So comments get you attention even if you haven't mastered the skill of content creation yet. and it starts getting you attention. It starts building relationships. It starts building you goodwill. Comments are the way to start. Then step 3 is to chat. You start reaching out to some of the people that you've commented with. You start building relationships. You don't try to sell anything. If anything, you try to give, and you give, and you give, and you help wherever you possibly can through the chat, and you build real relationships and find real opportunities from that. Which leads you to step 4, where you get on calls. This is where you really deepen relationships. You can chat with someone for a year and you'll know them less than if you call them for an hour. So you get on calls and you deepen relationships. And from that, opportunities will present themselves for you to get a case study. You'll find an opportunity of someone that you can help. And you work for free in the beginning to prove that you can deliver results. And you get the case study to prove it. You use that case study to get a client. This is where you start charging. And this can generate significant amounts of income as it is. And then you put fuel on the fire by creating content, growing an audience, gaining niche fame where you're known in a small group of being incredible, where you have the benefits of fame, which comes with trust and authority and credibility, without the negatives of mass fame, which is lack of privacy and people being creeps. Niche fame, which is what you get through synthesizing, is the best kind of fame. But if all of that feels like a lot, the only things that matter is attracting attention and building goodwill, converting it, and then delivering on the results. If you just attract, which you do by commenting and chatting and calling, converting, which you do through calls, and delivering, which you do through getting the case study and getting the client, that is all you need to reach freedom. And said a different way, it's marketing, sales, and product. And these are the 3 things, and this are the 7 C's, and this is the roadmap that we'll be covering throughout this program. Moving on to section 5, the group, how to get results and get paid with Synthesizer. Well, we've organized Synthesizer to be a perfectly engineered change agent. We've brought all of the necessary ingredients together to provide you to change who you are, change what you do, to start generating income, start changing the world through the process of synthesizing. And it all starts with the community. This is where educational creators go to thrive. And people would happily charge $200 per month for this, and it would be a bargain for the quality of the community. Inside of the community, we recommend you use the search bar, where you can find discussions and answers to common questions and problems. We recommend you engage on posts, where you can build your network, help others, and receive help in return. You can make posts, and we like posts that are wins. We like when you do something, then share what you did. And we like when you ask selfless questions, where you ask people what they did instead of asking what you should do. And the posts that we don't like are opinion posts. This is where you tell people what to do. We are equal inside of this community. No one has asked for you to lecture them. Don't tell people what to do. Do something, then share what you did. We don't like selfish questions, where you join a community with over 10,000 people and you ask everyone how they can help you. That's selfish. Redirect it back to them and ask them how they did something instead of asking how you should do something. We don't like low quality posts with no effort put into it, and we definitely don't like self-promotion. And if you want to get support, you can tag the host of Synthesizer at Aidan Labreche for help whenever you want. And if you click on the members tab at the top, you can connect with thousands of friends and partners on the same journey, and we recommend you click on the members tab and you can search your local area to find if anyone's near you and reach out to them and build a relationship. And also you can consume high quality posts and insights that you can't find anywhere else. I'm not creating YouTube videos at the moment. I'm not creating tweets at the moment. Everything that I learn is coming into Synthesizer. And then we have the course. This is validated training for growing an audience, building a business, and getting paid to change lives. The value of this is between $1,000 and $5,000. And along the way, there will be shortcuts. These are optional paid opportunities to speed up your results. You can always go about it the hard way. All of these shortcuts are optional. But if you do have the funds and you do want to speed up your results and reach freedom quicker, we will be providing you with optional shortcuts that you can take throughout the journey to speed up your results. Then we have the calendar. These are mentor-led calls to unlock your potential. And a quick bonus win, if you go to school and you go to the search bar and you search "Let There Be Cat," you'll get a pretty cool experience. If you then click on the cat, music will play. That's a bonus win for making it this far to the end of the video. We also recommend you download the school app on your phone so that you can reach it and access the value at any point in time, and you can reply to relationships and build relationships and reply to messages through the app. And we also recommend you go and change your settings. So if you click on your profile in the top right, you click settings, you click notifications. On the right here, we have the recommended notifications for you to receive. A mistake that a lot of people make is just turning all notifications off. This is where you'll lose out on a ton of the value and the transformation. Or you leave them all on, where you'll get bombarded with too many notifications. This is what we recommend you set your notifications as. And remember, I've put everything I've learned in this community, and it's for free. I have nothing to sell you in this community. You couldn't give me money even if you tried. And this community has been around for 4 years, and I've been losing money for most of it. So everything you get inside of this community, you get for free because we believe in the synthesizer mission. So the action step is to scroll down, and underneath this video, there'll be a post, and the post will give you instructions on how you can introduce yourself to the community through a comment. This is an essential, crucial step for you to reach freedom as a synthesizer, because network and building relationships is vital. Your network is your net worth. So go ahead as the action step, scroll down underneath this video, click on the pinned post, read the instructions, and leave a comment. This has been Kirby, and I'll see you in Module 2.